enables you to transfer cost components X, Y, and Z to wages. When you create a material cost estimate, you can decide whether the system creates a cost component split only for the COGM or the primary cost component split, or whether both primary costs and COGM splits are created simultaneously. You make this choice when you assign the costing variance and enter the cost component structures for the main and auxiliary cost component splits.
Overhead costing is one of the methods to allocate indirect costs to cost estimates. Overhead costing applies a percentage or quantity-based fixed amount to a specified cost base. To determine overhead, you use the direct costs that were posted to the order as a basis for distributing indirect costs. In the manufacturing industry, for example, direct costs are usually labor and material costs. The rules to apply overhead are summarized in the overhead costing sheet.
The basic components of the costing sheet are as follows. Calculation base. You can combine cost elements in base rows. You can also split cost elements by origin, such as raw materials with origin XYZ only. Also, you can divide the calculation base as fixed and variable costs. Overhead. You calculate overhead on the calculation base. You can define the overhead percentage so that it differentiates among planned costs, actual costs, and area of validity based on specific fields. You can also allocate quantity-based overhead such as $100 for every 30 pieces. Credit. You assign a credit key to each overhead line in the costing sheet. The amount of the overhead is credited to a cost center, business process, or order under the secondary cost element. The cost element is important in product cost planning or PCP because it controls overhead costs. You can specify the percentage of the overhead, that is, fixed costs. This section explains how to use activity-based costing and the technical aspects of template allocation in product cost planning or PCP. The objective is to help you decide whether activity-based costing and the origin-based allocation of overhead blocks is the right method for your company to use.
The characteristics associated with activity-based costing are as follows. Overhead transparency. use of resources by processes, quantity-based allocation of overhead, increased efficiency, use of capacity of indirect areas, constant monitoring of internal processes, interface management on a process-oriented basis, accurate costing through origin-based allocation of internal activities. The aims of activity-based costing are as follows: reduction in overhead through optimization of processes, increase in profitability.
Material costing with quantity structure can allocate costs parts that are not contained in the bill of material or BOM or routing. The two main reasons that necessitate allocation of costs parts not contained in the BOM or routing are as follows: identifying overhead blocks and their costs, identifying causal origin-based relationships with products that use these overhead blocks.
A business process is a process or an activity within a company that uses resources and activities from one or more cost centers. The business process is one of the master data objects used in activity-based costing, and it is a measurement for output. Like cost centers, business processes can be planned on cost accounting lines. The system can calculate a price for the output quantity of a business process. To determine the price, the system uses an allocation cost element stored in the business process master. Templates are centrally maintained tabular frameworks. The object column can contain business processes, cost centers or activity types, templates or object formulas. For example, there are two plants, Plant 1 and Plant 2, each with local work scheduling. You created two business processes, WS1 for Plant 1 and WS2 for Plant 2. The system needs to ensure that products in Plant 1 are allocated automatically to WS1 and products in Plant 2 are allocated automatically to WS2. The object formula is if product from plant equals 1, then WS1. If product from plant equals 2, then WS2. The template function can be used for an overall view and reuse of the rules.
The use of formulas in templates provides a high degree of flexibility and efficiency in designing origin-based rules. The formulas let you define allocation quantities and to specify whether allocation should take place or not. The standard system contains functions that assign environments to templates. The environment of a template supplies information relevant to cost drivers to the system. An environment limits the use of functions to those that are applicable only in the context selected. For example, the standard SAP ERP application contains environments for production, product cost by period, sales orders, and reference and simulation costing. The standard functions are arranged in function trees and contain short descriptions. The template is designed in such a way that it can be enhanced by the user. For example, you can create user-specific functions centrally and make them available in the environments. Consequently, you can access external and customer-specific structures and additional master data fields and use them in object, quantity, or activation formulas. The technical process of creating customer-specific functions is usually handled by IT departments because it requires programming knowledge. The templates and formulas are designed to be maintained centrally for automatic use in cost accounting throughout the company.
To assign the costing sheet and overhead key a template, you have to make the relevant settings in customizing. You can use the overhead key to specify whether the system finds one or more templates. When you execute a material cost estimate, you can display the way the system interpreted the templates for the material. If more than one template was used, You can only analyze one in the cost estimate display mode. For further analysis, you use the information system.